All right. Number 2, I think this is the second. This is the second one. This is Matrix 2013, the covered show. I haven't seen it in a while. Again, we're doing 2 terms on the effect visual, the visual effect subcaption of the effect visual sheet. Visual journey, the effective use of form, movement, color, and characterization to establish and sustain intellectual, emotional, and aesthetic relationships over time. So how they use form, how they use color, how they use characterization, how they use movement to touch the triad and make the triad work within one another, within itself. And then musicality, understanding the artistic sensitivity of the written work that accurately reflects, interprets, expresses, and enhances the music. I think it's implied that written work is the written visual work. I suppose. I'm going to go ahead with that assumption for now. That reflects, expresses, interprets, enhances the music. Expresses. Interesting. Let's go for it. I don't like this announcer as much as I like the other announcer. Oh, I see Cal Tuccia in the crowd, in the front row. All right, sorry. So, the intellectual idea of painting, I get, right? That's being covered with paint. And there's some interplay between the dancers and the basses there that I didn't quite catch because the camera stuff. I mean, the tempo and also the performers, like their characterization, is certainly up tempo. Is like excitement is the point of the show essentially, right? So the intellectual component is covered, and the emotional part is that it's upbeat. So. Okay, there's an arrival points. What I like the levels. I like the pause with the 2-mallet fill there, and how we rotated the form. Yeah, didn't really get much out of the performers or the poles, but I totally dig the covered moment. How he pulled the cover over right at the end of the impact, and then kind of bass dropped up too. All right, so a lot of visual velocity. That's kind of setting up the restaging of these platforms. Okay. So dig the color palette. Again, it's very high energy, purple to green. So, okay, we just restaged visually. Yeah, so I think overall pretty sensitive musical moment that wasn't really reinforced until the very last. I get it. They covered their faces at the arrival there, at the resolve there. I mean, okay, definitely a mood change musically. The feel is different too. Cool. And so they're playing on their drums with brushes. Cool. I mean, I appreciate the level taken. Okay, there's a there's a I don't know sensuality to this mood here. Sure. Again, actually I get the paint covering the theme of the show, and there's the musical mood. It's kind of meant to create an emotional mood that has like sensuality, I guess, in it is the word that keeps again come to mind. Great, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a nice resolution. Very clever. That the couple is covered up at the end. Dig the brightness of the marimba covers. That's awesome. Yeah, and the quads being too. We're back to kind of our high energy. And, yep, great. Very, very cool. Super exciting. Yeah, we have an. I appreciate setting up both the level it's being taken. Cool. Dig how we incorporated the pitch blend there. That's a really nice coordinative moment. Fun. Yep, super exciting. All right. Strengths of the program are that it knows it wants to be like high energy and kind of up tempo and exciting. Visually, we kind of are it's relentlessly paced through the first and the final portion of the show that are all kind of really up tempo. So like everything that's happening has visual momentum behind it, specifically like the drill forms um, and the amount of motion that's on the floor. The performer's characterization also conveys that in those moments. I think it's their real strength. In the kind of mood piece, it's carried pretty heavily by the dancers, and doesn't. It feels like we there's like a bit of a breakdown in those moments with the performing ensemble, with the battery ensemble. I mean, they should. That's not like they should be the focus, but they also kind of it doesn't translate on the video. Um, love the vibrancy of the color. The payoff is really in the third act. Like the purple does pop, I think, even on the video early, fine, but it's not until really the marimbas are covered with the bright yellow, and the quads are covered with the purple, and then the paint here at the end. Which, granted, those are exceptional moments. So some really high peaks. And last in the visual journey, I'm kind of going through color characterization, form, and movement. I think we touched on all of those concepts. And then we talked about like the strengths of the triad, how they apply to the triad. And then musicality-wise, this show the limitation of the kind of this dubstep-y show is that it's basically 2 beats. The first 2 minutes is all one key and one feel, and the last minute and a half is basically one thing over and over. It's a cool thing, it's a hip thing, but it feels like it somewhat limits the how much you can maximize. But I think that let's see, what other visual elements would have pulled themselves out of like how the music is enhanced. Yeah, I'm not pulling on a ton of strong immediate qualities to the musicality of how the written work does what it does, how it reflects, interprets, and all that. It reflects, interprets, expresses, and enhances. Other than just going back to what I was talking about, the high energy thing, like it's a lot of like fast tempos in the feet and like head bobbing, essentially. Like those are the performers to like the go-to things that the show inhibits for like 5 of its 7 minutes. And then to me the middle portion loses. It doesn't hold intensity. I don't know, it's hard to hold intensity with when the tempo is down and all the things that are happening are it's tough to hold intensity through a ballad, but I wouldn't want you to be trying to do the same things that you were just doing, but I think it loses its momentum. So I think maybe it's better live again, and maybe it's carried a little bit better by the dancers than I am giving it credit for. But yeah, those are the positive takeaways. The only other thing that visually gave me pause was I felt like the restaging of those props they weren't necessarily. I didn't think the props added a whole ton until the very, very end. Like I didn't like the prop. Actually, the pole choice in the opening felt inorganic, and then this prop stage choices felt like they were underutilized and oddly utilized until the very end. Like the very end was absolutely what you would want. Put the quads kneeling down and move them around while they're getting dumped paint on. But even just like looking back right now, reflecting a couple minutes later, I don't think that those props necessarily were necessary. All right, that's a lot of talking.